everyone, and happy Vlogmas to you all. Whoa, scratchy, weird throat. It's early in the morning. I'm here to go through everything I read in November with you, so let's get into it. So before we dive in, cheers. I've got a lovely peppermint mocha from Starbucks. I just needed to start my day with a little festive drink. I love these. How would I rate these versus pumpkin spice? I think this wins for me. Oddly, I think it wins. Anywho, I'm gonna pop this right here. Ready to go. We are going to go through everything I read in November. I hope you guys had a really good reading month in November. Mine was kind of meh. Truthfully, there were no 5-star reads, and I only read 7 books. And this year, I've read so much this year that that's not really ideal. But first, we're going to start with my DNF. I started listening to 25 Days Till Christmas by Poppy Alexander, which is the story of a single mom. She is widowed. Her husband died. He was in the army and sadly he died, and she's raising this boy on her own. She's strapped for cash, but she wants to make this Christmas really special for her son. So every day they do something special and festive together. I liked the idea of this book, but honestly, I was quite bored. I was bored reading it, so I just stopped because I thought, you know, it was a library borrow. I borrowed it from the library, and so I thought I'll give it to someone else who, you know, might want to read that more than me. So there's that. But now we're going to talk about the 4-star reads because I didn't have any 5-star reads in November. So the first 4-star read I want to talk to you about is My Lovely Wife by Samantha Downing. This is about a husband and wife duo who actually murder women as a way to like rekindle their love, which is a weird way to rekindle love. Like just go and have tango lessons or something like normal people. Anyway, they kill people. And they're trying to get away with it. They also have kids. And I thought this was a lot of fun, honestly. It's very dark. Like the details about the women that they take and kill and the way that they're killed is quite graphic, if I'm being honest. I didn't mind that. Some people might mind that. And it was really fun to read from the villain's perspective. I do have to say that I had to take a star off because I felt like they were kind of stupid. They were making a lot of choices that didn't make any sense. And they just seemed like overly confident that they were going to get away with this. They just didn't seem quite smart enough to actually get away with it. So there was that, but it was really fun. And I want to read more by her. I've heard her latest one. He started it. Wasn't very good. Let me know in the comments below if you've read that and liked it. Did you like My Lovely Wife more? I'd love to know your thoughts on that because comments are back on. So nice to have comments back on. Even though I don't know what's going on with AdSense, I don't care at this point. I missed you guys. The next 4-star read that I read in November was House of Correction by Nikki French, another thriller. I needed easy reads in November. The election kind of took my mind and I just couldn't stop watching news like at all. And then Libby died in November. And so I just genuinely needed books that were very easy to read. But this is the best kind of thriller. This was really wonderful. House of Correction by Nikki French, who you know I love, is about a woman who moves back to her hometown and she buys a house that she always had an eye on, and she is renovating the house, but she's just gotten back. Unfortunately, one day a dead man is discovered in her shed and everyone seems to think that she killed this man that she did know in town. She did know him. And she's on trial, basically, and we meet her in prison, and she is deciding to defend herself. She doesn't like her solicitor. She doesn't believe that her lawyer, solicitor, whatever you want to call them, she doesn't believe that they believe that she's actually innocent. She is innocent, and she needs people to defend her who actually believe that. So she's like, well, I'll defend myself. And so it's such an inventive story, because you sit with her in prison as she's going through all of the evidence against her, and she's combing through it all. And then you also witness her defending herself in the courtroom. And that was the best part to me. I think there was like 200-ish pages of her in the courtroom, and I loved that part. I did find her going through the evidence and stuff alone a little bit, like a little slow, still really good. The characters in here were wonderful. It's a bit of a locked room mystery because this is a very small town, and during the time of the murder, a tree went down and blocked the entrance. So no one could exit, no one could enter this little town. And so you know that someone in the town killed him, but was it her? She's also trying to figure out, like, maybe I did it. I don't know. But I really, really liked it, and I highly recommend House of Correction. I feel like Nikki French has just become such a favorite author pairing of mine, for sure. Okay, and then one more 4-star read. Not such a bad reading month after all, when you think about it. That is Wondersmith by Jessica Townsend, who I believe is Canadian, which is a wonderful thing. So Wondersmith, The Calling of Morrigan Crow, is the second in a series. It starts with Nevermore, then it's Wondersmith, and then I am currently listening to Hollowpox. And this series is about a little girl named Morrigan Crow. She's grown up thinking that everything is her fault. Her whole town thinks literally everything is her fault. If it rains, it's Morrigan's fault. If someone breaks a foot, it's Morrigan's fault. Everything is her fault, until she is swept away to Nevermore, and she has to compete to try to get into the Wondrous Society. And in book 2, you meet her going into the Wondrous Society, and it was so wonderful, and I really loved all of the characters, all of her friends. I really love her. It's such a magical world. This very much rivals Harry Potter in my mind. There are, I would say, some nods to Harry Potter and some inspiration that she got from Harry Potter, but it's very much its own thing as well. And I just really love this series so much, and I'm kind of sad that I'm reaching the end of everything that's been published, because Hollowpox was just published, and now I'm gonna have to wait a long time for another book in the series. I will say as well, it is amazing on audio. I read Nevermore, the physical copy of Nevermore, and then since then I've listened to the others, and the narrator is fantastic. Like, probably one of the best audiobooks I've listened to. So very much recommend that. Okay, so the next book is 3-star. We're moving on from 4 stars to 3 stars. This is Untamed by Glennon Doyle. Glennon Doyle is a bit of a self-help guru kind of person. She's written a lot of self-help books, and this is her latest one. Adele was all over this, the Adele. And this is really about the boxes that women and girls are put into and put themselves into. And the whole point of this book is breaking out of that, and not allowing yourself to be boxed up, which I really loved that message. And this is a tough one in some ways for me, because there were moments in here where I would have read something and just felt like, yes, just a lot of yes, I agree. Like, this is so true, so profound, and I really enjoyed a lot of her messaging. Sometimes I felt her messaging a little bit overwhelming, like um I was a little bit over it at times. She's a very intense person, and I'm a very intense person. So I can relate in some ways, but sometimes it's just a little bit over the top, and she's really intense with her kids. She's a great mom, don't get me wrong. She has two girls and a boy, and there's a lot about her girls in here. And I appreciate how she's raising her girls for sure. But sometimes it was like, I just wanted to see her a little bit normal. It's not a memoir though. It really is self-help. So there's that. I also didn't really love the structure of this. It felt like a lot of little essays that didn't blend together very well. I wanted it to blend a little bit better, but so many really great nuggets of wisdom for sure. So I gave this 3 stars. I also gave 3 stars to Invisible Girl by Lisa Jewell. This book is following a few characters. We follow a character who ends up going missing. She is a young girl who is slightly obsessed with her therapist, spends a lot of time walking the streets. We follow a man who is really unlikable character, incredibly unlikable character, and he is being accused repeatedly by a lot of people of like sexual misconduct. And then we follow his neighbor across the street, who is a woman who has a teenage daughter who is, nervous about the neighborhood because there seems to be a lot of sexual assault happening in the neighborhood. I didn't find it hard to follow. A lot of people in their reviews said it was a little bit difficult to follow because there were so many narrators. I didn't find that for myself. I found it fairly easy. Maybe because I listened to it on audio. Maybe that's it. I don't know. I thought it was okay. I only cared about one character, which was the girl who, goes missing. I really cared about her. Otherwise, I didn't. It was an interesting storyline, I suppose, but I found myself to be kind of bored a lot. And because of that, I'm done with Lisa Jewell, I think, because I've read 2 of hers and I ended up feeling that way about both of them. And I have so many thriller authors on my shelves that I love, or I want to give them a couple of tries. So I think I'm going to say goodbye to Lisa Jewell. No, if you love Lisa Jewell, absolutely pick her up. I'm not knocking Lisa Jewell. I just want to spend time with authors that I know that I love, and I gave her 2 shots. So I think I'm done, but it was okay. Are we moving on to the 2 stars? I think so. Wow. Okay. Well, Codename Leaves. This was my Patreon book club pick for November. This is nonfiction, and it follows a woman who is the spy, the most decorated spy of World War II. So Odette, whose code name was Lise, Odette was a woman who lived in England, but who had grown up in France. And so the English government decided to essentially recruit her to become a spy because she had a mastery of the French language, knew France, and could go in and stir some stuff up and get some information. And this follows her falling in love, I should say, with Peter, someone she worked with, and also being captured and tortured. I really struggled with this book because I didn't feel like I ended up getting to know her in the end. I also didn't feel like I ended up getting to know the process of becoming a spy and what you go through. It really felt like the author focused so much on the love story between Peter and Odette that he lost the stuff that a lot of people are interested in. Like, oh, I don't like romance, as you know. I don't really love that a lot of the time, especially if I'm picking up something about a spy. So yeah, we had our book club, our Patreon book club over on Zoom, and none of us really liked it. So I'm sorry, guys, that we ended up picking a book that just didn't work for us. But that happens sometimes. Sometimes you're gonna read the best stuff in the world in a book club, and sometimes you're just not. And this was a no for me. So there's that. And then very, very sadly, I gave 2 stars to The Darkest Evening. I did end up finishing it, guys. This is by Aunt Cleave. This is the 9th in the Vera series. So this follows a detective named Vera, or Vera. I don't know how to pronounce her name. And in this book, she's driving in a blizzard. She sees a car off the road and she stops to help. The driver is nowhere to be found, but there's a toddler in the back, a little boy, and obviously she doesn't just leave him and drive along, so she takes him and goes to the nearest house. And she knows the people at this house, and there's this holiday party happening. This is, by the way, a Christmassy book in some ways, if you like mystery Christmas books. And when she arrives at the house, it is also discovered that there is a dead woman found on the grounds. And she's basically trying to get to the bottom of it. I just found this very long. It was atmospheric and it did have cozy moments. And I liked those moments. But I ended up being quite bored by the mystery itself. It didn't intrigue me at all. I really cared about the kid so much, but I didn't care about anyone else. And sadly, I didn't like Vera at all. She called everyone pet, and it felt insincere. She also didn't seem to care about the victim very much, if at all. And I didn't like her. I didn't like her. She is not Frida. I'm trying to find a replacement for Frida Klein. I feel like between Jen Campbell and I, like, we'll get there. So we'll find someone. Or maybe we never will. But let's be optimistic. We'll find someone. But yeah, it just, no. It just, it really didn't work for me. I was quite bored and I was ready for the end to come. Oh. So there's that, and that's everything that I read in the month of November. I'm really excited for December reading. So I hope that you had a really good November reading month. Let me know in the comments below if you read anything absolutely outstanding, 5 stars. Let me know. Bring up my spirits. I hope you're enjoying Vlogmas so far, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye, guys.